Hello and welcome to the Accrington Stanley September review for the League Two season 24-25. We're going to take a look at match by match, how the squad's been performing, who John Doolan's been picking in his lineups, as well as statistics and club news, massive things that have happened within the club throughout the month. So let's get into it. A tough start of the season for Accrington in August then saw them towards the bottom of the league. Still looking for a win, conceding far too many goals as well. 11 going in against them in the 4 League Two matches. Now with September on the horizon, it offered 3 new league fixtures, with one that was going to have to be postponed and rearranged at another date because of the international break, and they had an EFL Trophy match as well. On match day 5, Accrington were undone by a David McGoldrick brace for Notts County as they failed to score for the first league game this season in a 2-0 defeat. In the match, a slow start to the game really did burst into life, literally as David McGoldrick picked the ball up from 25 yards out, got a pass in midfield from Jacob Badeau, and he took a touch to steady himself, burst his shot into the top corner to put the home side 1-0 up in the first 10 minutes. The veteran striker McGoldrick was a constant threat to Accrington all afternoon. 5 shots on target in the 76 minutes he was on the pitch. With one effort, he forced Michael Kelly into a near-post save after a link-up with Connor Grant. He also struck on goal and saw an excellent block from Donald Love stopping him from his second. Tyler Walton probably came closest for the away side, who only managed 3 shots on target in the whole match. He got into some space in the box, but he saw his left-footed strike lack power, went straight into the hands of Alex Bass. County did have a goal disallowed early in the second half before McGoldrick did get his second and he settled matters, striking true on the edge of the box to make it 4 goals in 2 games. A sliding Grant thought he had made it 3 as he slid in from close range, but a terrific reaction stop from Kelly kept the score at 2-0, with Notts County proving true to their early season form and well deserving the 3 points. Next up, a match that looked to be heading for a draw was snatched away from Accrington thanks to a Zach Williams strike just 5 minutes from the end as Crewe Alexandra took all 3 points at Accrington. It was actually a game of very few chances in the first half. Accrington didn't even register a shot and Crewe had a couple of half chances but didn't really trouble Michael Kelly in the Stanley net. Crewe thought they had the lead just after half-time as Jack Lancaster thought he'd opened the scoring, slotting in a rebound just 10 minutes after the half-time break, after Michael Kelly had saved a Kane Hemmings effort, but it was disallowed. But in the end, Crewe did hit the front as the minutes were ticking down. Williams got on the end of a Ryan Cooney half-volley side-foot cross. It escaped the entire Stanley backline and found Williams, who was sliding in, and gave Crewe the 1-0 victory. Accrington will be disappointed how they were limited in their opportunities in front of goal, failing to hit the net for the second weekend running as their opponent's Crewe made it 3 wins out of 3. If you needed proof that the start of the season had been tough on Accrington, then you look no further than letting a 2-goal lead slip in stoppage time when you're chasing the first win of the season. This is exactly what happened in their 2-2 draw with Port Vale on match day 6. Accrington thought they were well on their way to the win as veteran winger Sean Worley cut inside into the box to fire into the far corner for the opener just before the half-hour mark. And love was in the air as Donald Love made it 2 just before half-time. This time Worley turning provider with a corner as Love made an unchallenged run for a free header to double the trouble for Port Vale. The visitors pushed and pushed in the second half, and injury time drama as first Jayden Stockley headed home from close range before 5 minutes into stoppage time. Antoine Hackford rescued a point, getting the final touch on a deflected Ronan Curtis cross. Manager John Doolan's reaction at full-time whistle was of course that of disappointment, but he did say he was positive that the game plan was working as the opponents had to change their shape to combat Accrington. Ultimately, they didn't hold on at the end, but he saw positives that Accrington can take into future matches. And that turned out to be it in September in League Two for Accrington, just the 2 league matches. They, of course, were planned to play AFC Wimbledon at the end of the month, but as we'll come on to shortly, some terrible news around their stadium, and that match had to be postponed. 2 losses and a draw continued the tough start for John Doolan's team. Although the sides that they did play are in strong form and within the top 8 of the division at the end of September table, but Accrington in desperate need for points. So looking now at what was happening generally at Accrington in the month of September, they'd finalised their squad, of course, following the close of the summer transfer window. On deadline day at the back end of August, John Doolan saw loan additions Sonny Eljafri and Billy Crellin added to the ranks, as well as left-back Jake Batty the day before. In all, 7 players joined permanently for the 2024-25 season, and another 5 were brought in on season-long loan deals. Nelson Kumbeni of Bolton Wanderers is currently on a short loan, expected back at his parent club in mid-January 2025. And as we mentioned, Accrington were unable to play their final league game of the month at AFC Wimbledon. The pitch at Cherry Red Records Stadium has suffered significant damage after the nearby River Wandle broke its banks. It had been reported that over 100,000 litres of water had been pumped out of AFC Wimbledon's home after the entire stadium was left underwater, according to the club's managing director. Looking at the photos, it does look horrendous damage underneath the pitch. It looks like a golf course, to be honest, with sand bunkers in it, with extensive damage underneath that surface. This game will have to be rearranged, as well as some others for AFC Wimbledon. There was, of course, one more match for Accrington in September, and it was the EFL Trophy match as they started their campaign at home to Stockport County of League One, of course. Despite taking the lead, they were beaten 4-1 by the League One opponents over the course of the 90 minutes. The big positive probably for Accrington out of the match was the first Accrington goal for new signing Ash Hunter on 7 minutes, assisted by Alex Henderson as a touch and strike in the box flew low into the net. 2 quick-fire goals from County, however, did turn the tie around pretty quickly. Jack Stretton scored twice, just 2 minutes apart from each other. The first fell to him on the edge of the box, and the second, an unmarked tap-in from 6 yards from an Odin Bailey cross. Stanley remained in the game until the 82nd minute as Callum Camps headed a rebound in after online goalkeeper Billy Crellin had made the initial save from Louis Barry. Before it was Barry himself in injury time wrapped up a 4-1 victory for the visitors. It left Accrington really needing a victory in their next group match against Tranmere in October if they hope to remain in the competition. Now we look at the most used lineup from John Doolan in August. Having maintained the same 11 for the first 4 league matches in August, Doolan did start to tweak personnel in an attempt to gain some improvements. In the Port Vale game, Doolan changed to a 5-4-1, and he commented that this was a game plan that he was based on how the opponents played in that match. So it'll be interesting to see if he reverts to this again in future matches. At left back, the new loan signing Jake Batty looks to have sealed his spot, coming in for Seb Quirk, who obviously offers cover in the midfield positions as well, but has just picked up an injury, so hopefully he'll be back soon. Now, looking at the stats from an attacking perspective, Accrington are actually producing more goals than their league position suggests. It also points towards further defensive troubles, which we will come on to. So while still in the bottom half of goals scored, their clinicalness with goals per shot is not too bad, but they're certainly getting in areas to fire shots at the goal. As 4.1 equates to 7th in the division for that, of which 34% of their shots are getting on target for the 8 goals they've scored so far. Defensively, though, it has been a bit of a horror show. Only Carlisle United have conceded more goals than Accrington at the end of September, but they have played a game more. Accrington's goal conceded per 90 is the worst in League Two. Teams are creating well against Accrington, but with shots against and saves made, it's in the lower part of the division and not at the bottom. The 52% save percentage suggests that either Michael Kelly should be keeping more out, or that the chances that are being conceded are more likely scenarios that they would concede from. Or it's a combination of both and not great defending. Pick your favourite. Accrington have been missing a centre-back, J. Richard Bagaloo, from their defensive unit. He, of course, was key last season, and injuries are starting to rack up for Stanley. But they certainly need to tighten the ship to start competing. We won't even look at the clean sheets. Let's just skim past that, shall we? So taking a quick look at the general stats, Accrington are keeping the ball 49% possession on average, which is mid-table for the league. They're conceding more fouls than they're receiving, picking up 2.3 yellow cards on average per game. However, no red cards for Accrington Stanley, joint top of that table at least. Looking at the goal scorers, 3 Accrington players have scored more than once in the league so far at the end of September, with Tyler Walton, Kelsey Mooney and Sean Worley all hitting the net twice. Last season, of course, their top goal scorer was Jack Nolan. He's, of course, left for Gillingham, scoring 17 in League Two last time around, so going to be super difficult to anybody to match that total. Sean Worley's goal in the Port Vale draw was his 20th in all competitions for the club. Worley and Walton also feature again in the assist list. Both currently have 2 assists in League Two. Connor O'Brien and Donald Love also come in with 1 each. Last season, again, Jack Nolan topped this chart with 9, but Worley did get 6 from 36 games last season at an assist rate of 0.24, so he's currently slightly outperforming that metric so far. So to summarise stuff up, the table was not kind to Accrington Stanley at the end of September. That postponed fixture against AFC Wimbledon, as the point Morecambe gained at home to Notts County, saw Stanley hit the plummet of League Two in bottom position. Their goal difference currently sits on -8 as well, and they're still in search of their first win. Sides around them, such as Morecambe, Carlisle and Swindon, are only 3 points away though at this very early stage. Now, October brings double the matches that they had in September. 8 different fixtures await Accrington, with 2 EFL Trophy matches, fitting in a league programme of 6 matches as the season really does start to pick up pace. Away at Cheltenham up next, but an intriguing clash with Morecambe, as both currently sit at 23rd and 24th, is very close on the horizon. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more from me, please subscribe, like, hit that notification button. I'm going to be looking to do more of these for League Two this month, and looking to do more EFL content throughout the season for the Championship, League One and League Two. If you really enjoy weekly EFL content, do also check out the Absolute Football podcast, and this is what they do right here. If EFL football is your thing, and indeed National League football, check out the Absolute Football podcast, Monday, Wednesdays and Thursdays. On Thursday, it is our absolutely lower league show covering EFL and National League. Check the YouTube channel out now with EFL and National League previews. That's the Absolute Football podcast.